Hey folks, thanks for joining me in Red Dirt Country. I'm Donnie, the Fuzzy-Faced Fisherman. I'm going to show you 3 baits I'm using to catch largemouth bass in the month of December. Alright, so as usual, let's start off by talking about what the bass are doing in the month of December. The water's cold, right? It's not just cooling off, it's cold at this point. And the fish are responding accordingly. And so if I find myself fishing in a river, I'm looking for the deep spots. The fish are gonna move off of the current and try to find the stagnant, I don't want to call it stagnant water, but the water that's not moving, and it's away from the current and it's a little bit deeper. It's gonna be the warmer water. That's where the fish are gonna be. If I'm fishing in a lake, it's kind of the same concept. I'm probably looking for the deeper spots in the lake, or maybe the pond, or whatever the case may be. Those are the spots I'm targeting, but that doesn't mean that the fish aren't in the shallower waters. It's not uncommon to find them in the shallows, especially in the mornings and the evenings. Even in the midday, you might find some bass up in the shallows trying to warm themselves from the sun. So December is really kind of a wild card month. You can do good to find fish at multiple depths, and I'm going to show you the 3 baits that I'm using. Starting off with the glide bait, right? This is something along these lines, right? It's the topwater glide bait, and it's a soft one. I don't remember the brand, I'm sorry. But what I'm gonna do with this thing, and what I want you to think for the month of December, is big and slow, right? So the way I'm gonna fish this guy is I'm gonna pitch it out there, it floats. I'm gonna fish it, it's topwater, so I'm gonna fish it out there, let it sit for a minute. I'll give it a couple walks, then let it sit for a minute. And let it get a couple more walks and sit for a minute. I'm really working that dead stick and trying to give those bass a chance to figure out what's going on. Because I want to think about this for a minute. The water's cold. What do you think those bass are doing? Do you think they got the energy to go chase something down? No, not really. They're going to look for the bigger meals, the easier meals that probably look a little bit more like the forage you're used to. For example, if I throw, for example, a buzz bait out there, and I pitch that sucker and I start cranking it in, and that thing's making all kinds of racket on top of the water, that's probably not what the fish are looking for. This guy out here, I can pitch it out there, work it for a minute. I might work it one walk at a time. I'm gonna change it up. The point of the matter is that the fish are a lot more lethargic this time of year, and so the forage is gonna be a lot more lethargic as well. I don't want to freak the fish out and give them something that's moving crazy through the water. That's just not realistic to them. They're not going to know what to do with that. So this right here is what the first bait I'm going to use to fish with the month of December. Top water, it's going to be a large glide bait of some form, something that I can work across the top of the water, let it stop for a minute, let the fish see it, work it another little bit, let the fish see it, work it a little bit. Hopefully that triggers a strike. That's my point with the top water glide bait. Going to be fishing this guy in the mornings and the evenings. In the shallows. Maybe if I can find some good cover, it's got access to deep water close by, definitely gonna be working this guy across top of the water for my first bait the month of December. So sticking with the big and slow concept, right? Top of the water is gonna get that glide bait should get me some good action. If I want to work somewhere in the middle of the water column, not quite on the bottom, I'm wanting to get down below the surface at the top of the water. I'm going to try to find something that I can still work in that middle water column and still work the same way. Get that dead stick action, if you will. And the way I'm going to do that, it's going to be with a suspending jerkbait, right? So this guy, both of these ones I've got here to show you, are big old fatties. And what I can do with them is I can take these guys, pitch them out there, and both of them will actually float. But I'll pitch them out there, give them a quick jerk, that gets them under the water. And they'll suspend there, they'll hang there. They'll pitch them to the top of the water, they'll suspend down, and they'll just kind of sit somewhere 3 to 6 foot range. And they might float up a little bit, very slowly. But I give them that another jerk, and they're gonna, the whole point of the idea, the whole point of the lure is to keep it somewhere suspended in that water column wherever the fish happen to be. But that's what the point of this suspended jerk bait is, to get that pause action, that dead stick action, right? That lethargic action that those fish, all the fish down there are all feeling that same lethargic feelings, and that's what you're trying to mimic with this for the forage with these lures. Now, the areas that I'm going to target with these jerk baits is going to be the areas that I'm not real worried about a treble hook hanging up, right? So laydowns might not be the best spot for this. If I can target the edge of a dead grass line, you'll see me work that all day long with one of these guys. If I got some open water, I don't know if I'd say I'd cover water with it, because again, you're working it kind of slow, big and slow. You're working it nice and slow through the water column, and I don't think it's going to cover a whole lot of water real quick with it. You got to be patient with this guy. But that's going to be the second bait that I'm using for the month of December. So we've covered the top of the water. That suspended jerk bait gives me somewhere in the middle. And if I want to work the deeper water, what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to pitch a skip and jig, right? And I say skip and jig specifically because I'm looking for the cover that's hanging out over the water. Those fish are going to stay on the outside, stay in the sun, hopefully. That's what my bet is anyway. But they're in the sun out there trying to warm themselves. This jig is going to give me the opportunity to get down there, get to the deeper water around the cover, and pull it all the way along the bottom. I can work it up and down. And again, working that dead stick motion. Work it up, let it sink that back down. That on the fall is where you're looking for that strike. That's generally where the strike's going to come, is after the fall. But this guy right here, I'm going to work it super slow. I give it the occasional pull up, let it come up off the bottom, and let it sink back down. But I'm going to drag this guy across the bottom of the lake or the pond or the river, whatever I'm fishing. I'm going to drag that sucker across the bottom, and I'm going to look for every little bump, every little rock, every little whatever on the bottom of the water, and I want to feel it. I want to feel it all the way through the line, through the pull. I want to feel each and every one as I'm dragging. I'll probably be pulling with my rod. I'm not going to pull with the reel. I'll pull with the rod, feel all the little bumps, nooks, and crannies, and then I'll reel up the slack. And then I'll pull nice and gentle, nice, slow, and then I'll reel up some slack. And that's how I'm going to fish this guy. Now, when it comes to trailers, I'm not looking for anything that's got a very low drag option. I'm looking for something that's got a lot of flipping action, a lot of kicking action, right? And so this is what I'm going to look for, some sort of cross style trailer to go on this. You know, rage bug, something like that will work. But this is going to be the third bait that I'm using to fish in the month of December, the skip and jig. Now, I always have a bonus bait, right? And the bonus bait this month is actually going to be it's going to be a narrow-sided crankbait. Now, I'm not being real specific with my bonus bait this month. When I say narrow-sided crankbait, I've got a square bill here, and I've also got a deep diver, right? But the concept is still the same, similar to what the jig I'm doing with the jig. I'm going to take this dude and I'm going to get him all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to dead stick it. You may, if he floats back up, if you got a floater, you know, you can't dead stick it for quite as long, but the concept still applies. I'm looking to get it down at the bottom, let it wait. Get it back down on the bottom, let it wait. But I say narrow body, I want you to take note of how narrow these are, and I'm going to show you. Got a couple others for comparison. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see that. Look at the body thickness difference. No, this might be a little bit easier to see the thickness difference. Right, the thickness difference makes a difference in the wobble, right? The wobble that we're going to get in the action of the bait as we drag it through the water. Why is that important? Well, going back to what I talked about with the lethargic fish, right? So if I've got a narrow-bodied lure, it's not going to be all flying through the water making all kinds of racket. It's going to be a little more nonchalant, if you will, a little more easy through the water. It's not so erratic and wild and crazy. And again, those fish won't know what to do with that. If they don't have the energy, they're going to look at this bait and say, what in the world's going on with this guy? Why does he have all the energy? And so this guy right here gives them a little more confidence and say, hey, that looks like some forage I might be interested in. Now this one's got a little bit different color than what I'm used to. It's to pink. Honestly, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with the pink in the red dirt country. And it might have something to do with the actual colors of the red clay that's in the soil all over the place. Call it red dirt country. This pink kind of gives it the bait a funny look in the water, I think, and that's maybe why I haven't had enough luck with it. But this guy here, this is it's my square bill. I believe this is a Thunderhawk. This square bill right here, I've had incredible amounts of luck on. The way I'm going to work this guy from a bonus bait in the month of December is I'm trying to drag it across the bottom and get this square bill to bounce all along that bottom. And I'm looking to feel whatever kind of imperfections or bumps and everything I can find across the bottom. Hopefully not getting snagged on anything, because these treble hooks will get snagged. I've seen people take the front hook off of these things before and still have a pretty good hookup percentage with just leaving the back hook, maybe even getting a bigger back treble hook. But guys, that's the bonus bait for the month of December. Folks, that's what you're going to find tied to my lines in the month of December. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're from, what you're fishing with in the cold month of December. Let me know how you're doing. I'm curious about how fishing goes in the other parts of the world. I'm Donnie, the Fuzzy Faced Fisherman. Guys, thanks for joining me here in Red Dirt Country. Until next time, tight lines to you.